When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fan fiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. I'm going to give you guys a bit of a warning. Fireworks are being fired off outside, so you might hear a explosion now and then, like that. Well, I'm not entirely sure you'll be able to hear that on the video, but if you do, my apologies. Now, let's continue where we last left off in our story. While the Legion of Doom continued their meeting, Deku had a huge crystal in his hands that showed different images, what's going on in the galaxy. As the image change in the crystal, what is currently going on with the Justice League currently in the Hall of Justice in Metropolis. So what did you learn back in Gotham, Batman? Several well-known villains in Gotham went dark. It's quiet. It's too quiet. They're up to something. What about the villains in here in Metropolis, Superman? They went dark as well. For once, I agree with your paranoia, Batman. Something's clearly going on. I really don't see what's the big deal. We'll just go in there, beat them up, like we usually do. You might be fast, Flash, but not all of us has your speed. We can't just barge in there. That's a good way to walk into a trap. For once, I agree with the Green Lantern, but we can't just do nothing. Whatever we do, I suggest we move out. We move out with caution. Let's just get the show on the road. I want to smash some skulls. Enough. We'll put it to a vote. As the image begins to fade from the crystal, Deku simply crushed the crystal in his hands. While they still continue discussing how to take down the Justice League, but you can hear in the background. Argument back and forth is not going to get us anywhere. We don't have unlimited time here. Sooner or later, the Justice League will start sniffing around. You're not wrong there, human. And how would you exactly know that? Out of curiosity, Deku. You seem to be under the delusion that I have the same limitations as you do, humans. The heroes of this Justice League don't know exactly what you're up to. They know several of you went dark. That clearly got the Bat's attention, so he's extremely suspicious. As whatever you decide, I would advise you to do it fast. It's only a matter of time before Batman starts to connect the dots. As everyone in the League of Doom start to laugh at the only mention of the non-power member of the Justice League, except for the Gotham villains. They know full well how dangerous Batman can be. I would advise you not to take that human very lightly. The Kryptonian known as Superman might be quite powerful, but there's one thing he lacks: that's intelligence. In this human that goes by Batman, he has that in spades. It would be unwise of you to underestimate him. Just because he doesn't have any abilities, that doesn't mean he can't be dangerous. I made the same mistake the very first time I encountered that human. He's very resourceful. It's up to you if you take my advice or not. You're lucky I'm giving you that much. Deku created a huge crystal in the room, hovering above the ground, as the image begins to show of the Justice League in the Hall of Justice in some sort of meeting voting on what they're going to do next. Remarkable. How did you achieve such a feat? What's your limitation on whatever this is? It's one of my abilities. I have no limitations on it. I can see pretty much anything on this crystal, or any other crystal that I create. Interesting. In theory, you could find out all their secret identities or their little secrets. These crystals of yours are very interesting and very useful for gathering information. What you mention, Sinestro, yes, it is possible, but that's not going to happen. As the crystal shattered, that's floating in the room, by everyone's surprise, I only showed you that to prove that I could do it. I have no intention of revealing those human secret identities. If you want to know that, you're going to have to do that on your own. I have no intention of lowering myself to you human standards. You don't seem to like humanity very much by the way you talk. You are correct. Find humankind, the human race, to be a stain on the galaxy, mere insects. You humans are far more too temperamental, destructive. You'll eventually either kill the planet or kill yourselves. If you don't like humans, then why did you even come to Earth? I'm Earth's protector. I might not like the current species that's on top of the food chain on this planet, but my personal feelings on humanity does not matter. I know my duties, and my opinion on your species is not included in that. As long as you don't endanger the planet itself, I won't have to eradicate you all. Lex, I do appreciate your hospitality, but this is where we go our separate ways. I'll be watching after all. I'm only an observer, as long as nothing else comes up. Who knows, I might fight one of these heroes, if I get too bored. What's your name, female human? Name's Cheetah. I'll remember that. Until we cross paths again, good luck on your quest to squash this Justice League. It should be quite a show. Very entertaining, I believe. Deku was engulfed in green and purple light, disappearing as everyone shielded their eyes. When the light receded, Deku was nowhere to be found. This kid's dangerous, but I do like his style. But the kid was right. We need to get the ball moving on this, Alex. Indeed, Cheetah. Let us proceed with our meeting. As we cut back to Deku walking down the street in Metropolis, eating katakani out of, well, a bag basically that materialized in his hands. Deku found himself in a park and sat down on the bench, only to be joined by a familiar face. Death sat down right next to Deku and drank her smoothie. You've been quite busy recently. It seems you went through another growth spurt. You do age differently compared to any other life form I've ever came across. Hello, Death. What do I owe the honor? I did tell you I would pop in now and then. I don't know why you started a war with the Lanterns, but you must have your reasons. But I'm glad you're back on Earth. I'm on Earth to protect it, after all. Protect it, you say? I don't believe that was in your original duties. Balance. It may not be in my original duties, but it was a request from my mother. Not surprising, Perpetua believes Earth is hers alongside with the entire galaxy. That woman's extremely greedy. So, what are you going to do now? You must be referring to the Justice League and the Legion of Doom. I'm going to see how things play out. I highly doubt I'll be needed to interfere in their battle. I have no doubt Superman and the rest of the League can handle these villains. I've seen every outcome. They're going to lose regardless. But yet you look troubled. The human named Lex. I saw many glimpses of his possible future. It's troubling. Every possible outcome I saw with that human, it did not end well for him or the planet. I might have to get rid of him one day if he posed too much of a threat to the planet. Regardless of what role he must play in all of this, I cannot allow anyone to endanger the planet or the balance that keeps everything all nice and connected. But you gotta remember, Deku, it's a possible outcome. You can't be certain what he'll do in the future. You don't possibly know or control the future. You might be an entity to keep the balance secured, but that doesn't mean you know the future. I'm fully aware of that, Death. I know my limitations, as limited as they are. Speaking of your mantle, when are you going to officially take up the title of the Protector of Balance? I'm not ready yet. I'm not powerful enough for me to even attempt to take that mantle. I won't be able to take my mantle until I achieve my full evolution. Until then, I will travel and learn about this universe and what goes on the other side of the Source Wall. You are one of the few entities that's able to cross to get to the other side of the Source Wall. I just want to make sure you think before you take any action. Why would you be worried about that? It's not like that I will interrupt your duties as long as I keep the balance intact. I have my reasons, Deku. I would like to keep a civil relationship between me and you. After all, when I finally close up shop, you'll be right beside me. You might not want to believe it, but our fates are intertwined with each other. You're still quite young, still haven't been alive long enough to experience what I have experienced, Deku. I know full well you don't take kindly to humans and the human species in general. But I implore you, give humanity a chance. They'll surprise you in many ways. Even though you've been quite friendly to a rare few humans of the human race, there are really good people out there. It's just gonna they're just going about their daily lives, live the best they can. But majority of people are generally good. We'll see about that. I've seen what I've seen from these insects hasn't changed my mind about how I see as their entire species. But I'll keep your words under advisement. That's all I ask for, dear. Just keep an open mind. I take it you're not just here to say hello. Sorry. I take it you're not here in Metropolis just to say hello. Unfortunately, no, not. I do enjoy our little talks, but I'm here on business. When the two sides finally clash, there will be casualties. On the civilian side. I might not like it, but it's just how things are. People live and people die. They're mortal after all. It's a natural order of things. Give me a second, guys. Things keep popping up. I need to fix that. See, when I first started doing this, being deaf, I had a hard time coping with what I had to do. So eventually, before I lost myself, I was saved by one of my brothers. He suggested I live as a mortal to see a different point of view. And I've done that. I've lived many lives as a normal human. Not that I'm ungrateful for this little visit of yours, but why are you telling me this? To let you know you're not alone. You're going to go through your own trials, like I did myself. I just want to make sure you know, if you ever want to talk, you just have to say my name, and I'll be right beside you in seconds. Like I said before, our fates are intertwined with each other. When everything finally dies, only me and you will be left. It looks like things are finally started, as Deku and Death could hear loud sounds of battle in the distance, somewhere deeper in Metropolis. Duty call and all that. This is where we say our goodbyes, at least for now, Deku. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. Death got up and put her empty plastic cup in the trash and waved goodbye, then proceeded to walk away. Deku finished his bag of cotton candy and followed the sounds of battle, going deeper in Metropolis. No matter how many times I've come across that endless, I can never understand her motives. The first time I met her, I threatened her, and she only simply gave me a warm smile, and just wanted to see what I was capable of. She's been outright friendly towards me ever since then. That's not important. I needed to get my head in the game. Deku immediately noticed everyone seemed to be stuck in place, like time was frozen. Suddenly, his surrounding turned pitch black as a humongous hole opened up in the sky. Some sort of creature that is hanging upside down came from the hole in the sky with a massive grin on his face, with very sharp teeth. Found you, my eternal rival. What the hell? What's going on? Who the hell are you? The upside down man only laughed hysterically. Enough, abomination. The upside down man snarled at Death. You cannot stop for what to come, endless. I will be free. The lock is decaying. It's only a matter of time. It was it was foretold. When I am free, I will face my greatest foe, my eternal rival, the forgotten new god, Balance. I will take my magic back. Magic belongs to me. Be gone, demon. Death forced the Upside Down Man to retreat back into his cage. He was only able to bring Deku to a side dimension that's connected to his prison before Death intervened. The scenery turned back to normal as Deku found himself back in Metropolis. For the very first time in his entire existence, he feels fear. Death noticed that, so she placed her hand over his shoulder, gave him a comfortable squeeze. Thank you. What the hell was that thing? Why did he refer me to his internal rival? Honestly, I don't know. You're basically the manifestation of balance. It kind of makes sense why the Upside Down Man took an interest in you. You two are technically two sides of the same coin. That's most likely why he's calling you his internal rival. That's my only guess. Only my brother knows such answers, and he's not the sharing type. He's stubborn like that. I've never felt anything like that. He felt pure evil but twisted. Corruption, almost. I know you have questions. Everything will come clear in time. I need to clear my head. Deku was engulfed in green and purple light as he teleported away from Earth, reappearing on the moon. Death Death looked over to the where Deku once was, as she gave the moon a sad smile, and continued to watch the battle, as she's here for a reason. She needs to take the dead to their next destination. Death might be extremely worried about the young man, but she has her duties to take care of first. Master, I don't like this feeling. I don't want to fight that one. The feeling is mutual, but I don't think we have a choice, Void. He seemed to be keen on me for some reason. We're going to have to face him one day, sooner or later. It sounds like he will escape one day. Deku sat down on one of the larger rocks that's on the moon and just stared up at the planet Earth in the distance. There's one thing I do know, Void. We clearly need to get more knowledgeable and more powerful. But I won't be able to gain any more new knowledge until I get closer to my next evolution. There has to be something on this creature. From what knowledge is stored away in my mind, I believe we wasted enough time on Earth. I have more important things that I need to get done than to play with a bunch of yellow lanterns. I'll worry about them later. Understood, Master. Where are we going? To the Source Wall. We don't know nothing about the other side of the Source Wall. I plan to fix that. Deku immediately took flight and went full speed towards the Source Wall. Deku would never say it out loud, but this Upside Down Man terrifies him. The only being that he's completely honest with would be Void, his bound weapon that he created with a piece of his own essence. It took almost 3 weeks non-stop flying for Deku to get to the source wall. Deku is floating right in front of the source wall, staring at the structure. Deku started to grind his teeth against each other as he clenched his fist in frustration of his lack of power. He doesn't like to feel that emotion. He didn't like it one bit. He knew there was much more stronger entities out there than himself, but he never thought he would come across one of them so soon. He clearly didn't like feeling fear. He composed himself and approached the source wall. The source wall somehow sensed his presence and opened a doorway for him to walk through, like it was expecting him. He simply passed through, eventually getting to the other side of the source wall, entering space once again. Deku floated in space and closed his eyes to sense anything nearby. When Deku sensed something, he immediately took flight. After 4 weeks of flying, he came across a familiar system as he officially has entered the Milky Way galaxy once again to a different Earth. He soon figured that out real fast when he entered a planet atmosphere, seeing a familiar city, a complete duplicate, copy of the city on the other side of the source wall. But there is major differences. There is no Hall of Justice. There is no Justice League. No Legion of Doom on this Earth. But they have different heroes on it that he's never seen before. As he made his way to the exact copy of New York, Deku immediately went exploring by walking on the street of New York City. Deku looked up. He could see someone wearing a red and blue costume that has a spider on his chest, swinging from building to building. So there's different types of heroes on this side of the source wall. This is quite fascinating. Are we going to explore more, Master? We are, Void. There's still much I haven't seen. Deku grabbed a nearby newspaper. As he reads the large article about a hero called Spider-Man, I'm guessing that Earthling that's swinging around up in the sky there, it must be Spider-Man. It's only proper that I introduce myself to this Spider-Man. Deku started to float upwards as every human around him started to stare at the floating boy as he immediately took off to catch up with the webhead. At least that's what the newspaper called him, outside of Spider-Man. The newspaper wasn't very flattering. Deku will only refer him as Webhead instead of Spider-Man. He likes the Webhead better. He found it fit for this human. Considering this human shoots out some sort of web-like substance from his wrist, it didn't take him long to catch up with the Webhead. Deku is currently standing on top of a building watching Spider-Man fight some common robbers trying to break into a jewelry store. The human police are on scene but keeping their distance so Spider-Man can do his job. Peter Parker was having a normal day. He passed a major test that he took a week prior. He just got the results when he was in school. And he took his normal patrol to take down some villains. But he was unaware that he was being observed. Not even his spider sense could detect him. The robbers were wrapped into webbing. He um he turned them over to the police officers so they could do their job. He immediately swung off, only to jump on the side of the building when he noticed a stranger-looking kid was right behind him. By the look of him, Peter guesses he's around 14 or 15 years old, a few years younger than him. Peter, in this current timeline, is still in high school. He's a senior, but he's still in high school. I couldn't even tell he was right behind me. You're quite agile for a human. Human, are you one of those mutants? I don't know what a mutant is, but no, I'm not one of those things, whatever those things are. I go by Deku. Name's Spider-Man, I guess. I hope you're not going to cause any trouble here, or I might have to take you down. You couldn't stop me if I wanted to, but I'm not here to cause trouble for you, Webhead. Let's just say I'm new in town. I saw an article on a newspaper about you. Let's just say it wasn't very flattering, but my curiosity was piqued, so I had to meet you. I found a human shooting webbing out of his body. I'm still determining if you're not. I'm still trying to make my mind if you're even human, 100%. I still haven't made up my mind yet. What are you, one of those spacemen? Something like that. If you're not a mutant, what are you exactly? I'm guessing you're some sort of alien. But you're clearly more unique compared to the aliens I have met. Peter got his powers when he was a freshman in high school, so he has been Spider-Man for a few years. He only gave Peter Parker a smirk that unnerved Spider-Man a little bit. Until there's a loud explosion. As you can see right below them, there is a charging rhino that's charging through the streets as cars are flying that got into his path, as cops are firing upon Rhino, while Rhino is charging towards them while holding a bag of money from most likely a bank or store he just robbed. I got work to do. Stay out of trouble. As Peter swung away to engage Rhino. Out of my way, pigs. You're not stopping me. No one can stop me when I'm in mid-charge. They don't call me Rhino for nothing. As Rhino smashed through several cars on the road, Spider-Man swing past Rhino and shoot several of his web shots into Rhino's eyes, blinding him, temporarily blinding him. Rhino grabbed two cars that's in arm reach and throw them at Spider-Man, at least where he think he is by using his hearing. Spider-Man flipped over the flying car that was flying towards him, but he was unable to stop the second car as it's about to crush a bystander, a little girl around the age of 8 years old, holding on to a Spider-Man plushie, scared out of her mind as she sees the car flying towards her, ready to smash her small bones. The car suddenly stopped before it could hit the girl and started to hover up above the ground, then shoot back to Rhino, hitting him in the chest, making him go skidding backwards from the force of the impact of the car that he just got hit with, as he's currently still temporarily blind from the web, as he ripped the webbing from his face, or from his helmet. Deku is standing right next to the little human girl. I suggest you finish things, Webhead, unless you want the rest of the civilians injured or dead. I won't be saving them again. Deku stared down at the little human that seemed to have stars in her eyes as she's looking up to him. Oh, that was so cool. You cut the car. But how? You didn't even touch it. Use one of many of my abilities. I caught it with my mind, little human. It's called telekinesis. Telekinesis? As the little girl tried to say the very hard word, butchering it, but Deku knew what she was trying to say. Yes, it's the power of your mind. I can lift up things with a mere thought, move it closer, further apart. As an older woman was wearing a business suit came running down the street with a relieved expression on her face, seeing her daughter is okay. God, you're alright. Were you the one who rescued my little girl? I saw in the distance. I ran as fast as I could. Just thankful my little girl is safe. No problem. You should leave and take your little human along with you. The girl tugged on his jacket. Are you some sort of hero, like Spider-Man? Deku didn't want to upset the girl for some reason, so he simply replied, something like that. Name's Deku, little larva. The girl was clearly confused when he called her a larva, but her mother picked her up and thanked Deku once again, then left the area to get a safe distance. He used his opportunity while the strange-looking boy, most likely from outer space, has the civilians covered, and led Rhino to a secluded area at an abandoned construction site that where a half-finished building is standing. Clearly the construction hasn't been finished. It's a 4-story building so far. Before the construction stopped, it was supposed to be a new skyscraper, but the owner has some sort of financial trouble, so the project was eventually canceled and abandoned. Peter Parker sent his danger spider sense went off as he jumped in the air into a backflip and dodged a charging Rhino. Rhino hit a steel beam with his horn as Rhino shook his head from his skull being rattled by the beam of steel. Spider-Man grabbed a steel beam laying on the ground and picked it up and swung it right at Rhino, hitting him in the face, making him go flying into a brick wall in the construction site. You're dead, Webhead. You just don't know it. As Rhino charged Spider-Man, full throttle, Spider-Man stood his ground and caught one of Rhino's horns and slowly began to push him back. With impressive strength, Spider-Man lifted up Rhino and slammed him into the ground a few times, surprising the onlookers, as you can see Deku hovering in the air above the construction site, watching the battle. Peter jumped onto the Rhino's shoulder and unlatched one of the latches from Rhino's helmet. He was forced to backflip from an incoming fist that Rhino threw at himself, only hitting himself in the face with his own fist, making Rhino step backward from punching himself, while Spider-Man dove under Rhino's legs, then immediately jump up and did a spin kick into Rhino's back, forcing Rhino to step forward a few steps. Peter immediately used the weapon he organically creates in his body to pin Rhino's feet to the ground, then jump on to his other shoulder and unlatch the last latch, removing Rhino's helmet. Oh, that was loud. Let's continue. Removing his helmet, revealing his face. Peter goes full throttle, using more powerful blows and lands several combination strikes across Rhino's face, eventually knocking him out as Rhino fell down to the ground unconscious. After contacting the authorities, Peter left immediately afterwards, swinging out of the area. I had a feeling you're still here. Quite impressive for our Earthling. It's been a pleasure, Webhead. I'll be staying in the city for a while. I have no doubt we will be seeing each other again. You seem to be the type that attracts trouble. Until then, Deku flew off in a different direction, eventually landing on a street, then proceeded to walk through the crowd, while several of the humans clearly saw him fly and land on the ground, and walk like nothing happened, like it's normal for people to fly. People are giving him strange looks. What's the game plan, Master? I don't know yet, Void. We could always do what that Spider-Man does. It does sound quite interesting. Are you suggesting that we fight crime of all things like some mere human? Why not, Master? Why not, Master? It would be interesting, and it's not like we have anything else planned. This could possibly get you closer to your next evolution. I have no doubt you come across strong humans, at least in human standards. Much as I hate to admit it, I do see some value in what you're saying. It would be easier to get information what's exactly going on this planet with friendly dialogue with one or many of the heroes on this planet. And this will be the most easiest method to gain experience with my abilities, on a smaller scale, of course. You're not wrong. This would be a great asset to help me get to my next evolution. Very well, Void. We will try to be one of these heroes. But I'm not wearing tights. Play this hero role for now. We just need to blend in more so I can figure out how we're going to deal with this upside down man. As we time skip half of a year, Deku eventually found his way on the other side of New York, outside of Spider-Man's territory, into the territory where the X-Men operate. He made himself, using his abilities, a house in a little forest area outside of New York. During his time spent in New York, he researched about many heroes that's on this planet by using the internet. He hasn't tried to fight crime yet, but he's been making sure he's fully prepared. There's no rules forbidding him to interact with humans in general. There's a certain people he can't outright kill that would disturb the balance. Everyone on that planet has their own fate. As long as he doesn't kill any important humans, he could pretty much do whatever he wants. Day by day, Deku could feel his next evolution is approaching, fastly approaching. When he created his house away from the city, it's not near any other houses. It's just in the middle of the wilderness. perfect area. Perfect area for him to eventually, when he goes into his crystal form, when he starts to evolve into his next stage. No one will interrupt Deku when he goes through the process of 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 evolving. No idea how long he'll be in the crystal this time around, or how he will look when he finally emerges. 4 days, not even 4 days later, 4 days later, Deku eventually encased himself in a large green and purple crystal in a spiral pattern that's floating above the ground. Deku has been fully aware since he's been on this side of the source wall. Ever since he's been on Earth, he's been observed by a unknown human organization. He first noticed them when he first arrived at New York, when he had a brief encounter with Spider-Man. They most likely was there to watch over Spider-Man when he showed up on the scene, and most likely caught their attention. Ever since then, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been keeping tabs on Deku very closely. You can see several S.H.I.E.L.D. agents around the floating crystal in the middle of the forest, near a very homey home, or house, as you see Nick Fury standing right next to Thor and Black Widow. Two members of the Avengers. The other Avengers are doing a completely different mission. Only Black Widow and Thor were free. Sir, the area has been secured. Excellent work, Natasha. Thor, are you ready? Things might not go my way. Whatever is in this thing. Whatever emerged from this weird-looking crystal. We already had our science team take a look at it. It's emitting some sort of unknown energy. And by the readings I received, it's a very powerful energy. At least that's what according to the report that I got. No need to worry, Fury. If it's a threat, I'll put it down. I want this thing alive. I have some questions on why it's on my planet. Got it, Fury. Well, it looks like it's showtime. As Nick noticed the cracks in the crystal beginning to form. The green-purple spiral crystal, slowly but surely, revealed Deku, new evolution form. Deku seems to got a little bit older, shorter white hair, wearing some sort of black and green armor. Deku stood there when he floated to the ground and started to move his limbs around to get a feel for his new body. He only has one more evolution left. Suddenly, Deku is rushed with all kind of new information. Several of his memories in his mind are being unlocked. The moment he exits out of the crystal, finally in his fourth evolution, the only information he needs to acquire that's been locked is when he takes his final evolution form. Deku's one glowing eye looked at all the humans. Immediately all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents immediately pointed their rifles at Deku, as Deku gives everyone a vicious smile on his face. That's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Judge my time zone. I'll catch you in the next video.